Hello, I'm Sean McKinnon from Canadian Cutters. I'm the one that posted the image of um, the Dad project that I will be posting the file for eventually on Etsy. Um, but I showed that the whole thing was basically done in Blender, and you can visualize it in Blender and get that kind of realistic look before you go and cut it on your machine and start wasting materials. This is a great way to be able to see what your final product's going to look like and be able to visualize it with the colors and in certain lighting and that kind of thing. A few people have pointed out to me that they use Fusion 360 for this type of thing, and that's absolutely cool. Fusion 360 is definitely an option for that. That being said, though, there is a disclaimer in Fusion 360 that if you use it to produce commercial items, you have to technically pay for it, and it is quite expensive to pay for. That being said, I imagine you're never going to get caught using it for that, but whatever. I mean, why run the risk? Blender is completely free, it's open source. You can use it for whatever you want. Anything you make inside of it, you can sell. There's no limitations to what you're doing in Blender. Plus, Blender is actually meant for real world visualizations, whereas Auto Fusion 360 is not. So you can actually get way more realistic results out of Blender. Almost promo photos, I would say. Yeah, though I feel like that's a gray area. Maybe you shouldn't use it to do promo photos. Like, use a camera, take a proper photo of your project, cut your project, make sure it cuts. This just helps you for the prototyping process. So, just a disclaimer quickly, I am not responsible for your understanding. If you wind up deleting, overwriting, or corrupting files on your computer during the tutorial, that's your problem. I do expect you to have some technical efficacy that you won't cause any problems on your own computer. Same with downloading and installing Blender. If it causes any corruption to your computer, I am not affiliated with Blender in any way. I don't work on the software. I don't do any of that. And to be honest with you, because it's open source, it's community driven. There's no, like, it is a use at your own risk. It even says that in their legal agreement. I am not technical support. While I will definitely answer questions that are posted to the forum, if I see them, definitely it's on you. There's so much resources on YouTube or Google. And this application's been around for 20 years, and it's got a massive community, not just driven by hobbyists like myself, but also driven by the film industry. So it is definitely, there's definitely enough resources out there that you should be able to troubleshoot this yourself. That being said, if you post to the forum, even other people who are going through the tutorial and have figured it out might be able to provide you some assistance too. And then this tutorial is being provided for free. Don't include it in your paid course that you're selling on Etsy or somewhere, Udemy or whatever, without talking to me first. I don't mind things being used as a teaching aid. That is totally fine. But if my tutorial is becoming a full lesson inside your course, we need to chat. Mostly because I also want to be able to review your content and make sure it's in line with what my personal beliefs about using Blender. What you need to have: a computer, obviously. I mean, laptop works, anything like that is totally fine. One thing to note, though, is a touchpad is going to cause you a lot of problems if you're trying to work with Blender. You definitely want a mouse. The reason being is just navigating the viewport in Blender is quite challenging without a mouse. You can do it, it's just not, your life is going to be difficult. So you want a mouse with 3 buttons, so the left, right click, and a middle scroll wheel. Preferably that is clickable. Like I said, though, you can do it without it, but it's a very big challenge. You need the software, obviously. It's available on Windows and Mac as well as Linux. So it doesn't matter what your operating system is, you can definitely install it. An SVG file, so I'll be providing one that you are welcome to use for whatever you want to do with it. If you want to, don't sell it as a file, but if you want to create a project from it and sell it in your shop or your local market, go ahead, I don't care. But yeah, so that's the file we'll be using in the tutorial. You can use your own as well, but you might have some challenges using your own, and there's some things to consider. What you need to know: how to navigate the viewport in Blender, because navigating Blender is in 3D space. It's not like Illustrator or Silhouette or Inkscape where you're working in 2 dimensions. Panning, tilting, stuff like that becomes relevant because you're working in like a world view and you're working with a 3-dimensional object. So there's a YouTube video on how to navigate in Blender that should make things quite simple. It's like 10 minutes long. Watch that before you watch my tutorial so that you have a good understanding of how to navigate in Blender. Be able to navigate your computer. So when you download the files, you should be able to know where to find them. You should be able to install Blender. If you have challenges with any of those things, then I would definitely, reach out on the forum or something and ask how people have done it, or maybe this tutorial is not for you. That's the other possible scenario there. What requirements if I use my own SVG? It has to be a true SVG. It can't be, it can't contain images. So a lot of files that we download from Etsy tend to not be the best, and they tend to have like embedded images inside the file. That's not okay. That's not going to work. Blender doesn't understand an image. It only understands SVGs. SVGs are created through mathematical equations to be able to create paths and shapes, and that's what Blender uses to be able to create the mesh inside Blender. Each object in your SVG will be its own object in your Blender scene. You can reduce the number of objects by turning multiples into compound shapes. I don't know how you do it in things like Illustrator, or sorry, not Illustrator, but Inkscape or Silhouette, but in Illustrator it's like super simple. Basically you just select the things you want and then you tell it to convert to a compound. When that happens and it gets imported into Blender, Blender will treat that as one complete object. So it's a good idea to think in layers and to think about the colors of your scene before you load it into Blender. Not so much exactly what colors you're going to use, but just the things that are going to be the same color. Because if they're going to be the same color and they're on the same layer, then you might as well just compound those so that when you bring it into Blender, you're only coloring it once and you're only thickening it once. And then simpler is better. So colors won't import from Illustrator or any of the other ones. Blender doesn't understand those colors that you want. So there's no point in colorizing them before your import, though you may want to do it in your own file just for your own knowledge. No effects, no blends, no filters, nothing like that. No text along a path. None of those will work in Blender. So if you do text along a path, I don't know if that's a feature in the other ones. I assume it would be, but it's a feature in Illustrator. You have to convert it to a outline before you actually go to import it into Blender. Otherwise, it won't import. You can import text into Blender, and I think it will actually import as text. But then there comes some issues with the actual font families not working properly. It is much better just to outline your text and import it as a shape and not text. And helpful resources, Blender Guru, fantastic resources. His focus is mostly on, I call it organic modeling. So the idea is to create things like, for example, this tutorial is a donut. You make a donut and you add sprinkles and all this other stuff. But what he does show you is a lot of cool little features in Blender to make your life a lot easier and to make things quicker. He's also really big on realism. So you will learn a lot about materials and shaders and how to use those things to make your stuff look real. You'll learn a lot about lighting inside the scene. It's a good idea to think of Blender like if you were to take a product photo, but in software, right? So lighting matters, placement matters, all those things, all those real world aspects, the paint you use, stuff like that come into play, but digitally, right? So you can make some very realistic images. Arguably, you can make promo photos if you wanted to, just like the big brands do, right? Like not everything you see on a commercial is actually a picture. A lot of it's CG. That being said, though, you know, it's kind of a gray area. You definitely make your project. Don't just load it into Blender and use Blender for it. Like actually, you know, cut it to make sure it cuts properly. And then Maker Tales, he uses Blender more for like hobbyist crafting kind of things. So he does 3D printing. He has a laser cutter. He uses that. He uses Blender to be able to generate projects for this. So his video's super cool, right? Because it gives you a lot of the information relevant to your industry. And then Justin from CG Essentials, he has great beginner tutorials on how to navigate through Blender. He kind of falls in between the Blender Guru and the Maker Tales guy, mostly because he does like video game assets and stuff like that, but he also does 3D printing. So he's got a lot of tutorials that are pretty cool. What are you legally allowed to do? Blender is open source. Anything you create, it's yours. You can see fit. You are welcome to create models and sell them as models from Blender, which incidentally is an untapped market on Etsy. There's like a few people that sell some models, but for the most part, not enough. If you start really using Blender, creating your own models, and or even your own materials, your own scenes, stuff like that, it's a great business that you could just be selling those scenes and selling those models on Etsy and use that as a residual income. You cannot sell Blender itself, so you can't bundle Blender and sell it. That is like hugely illegal. It's an open source software covered under the GNU licensing agreement, so don't try to sell Blender. If you load models from sources such as Thingiverse or Thangs 3D or Prusa or any of these other places that provide free 3D models, you need to read the agreements on them. The majority are not commercial, meaning that you cannot bring them into Blender and then sell them as a part of your scene. You're not allowed to do that. You also need to be careful about even taking an image and flattening it into a layer or something like that. Make sure that you have the correct rights and be able to use that commercially. Also, just a note for those of you that enjoy doing things like 3D printing, items you get from Thingiverse, you are not allowed to sell at your local market even. And I have been witness to somebody getting called out on it when they attempted to sell their items that they had downloaded from Thingiverse at a local market. So just a note that the that the world who uses the fanverse that uses Thingiverse, they will call you out on it. And you can sell scenes, materials, models. I already said that. Don't need to say that again. All right, so that's basically it. So I'm just going to post this as a separated video, and then I'm going to post the actual tutorial. Make sure you watch the viewport navigation video, and then, yeah, we should be good to go from there. See you in a second.